Alrighty, folks, as we stay in this buyer's market longer and longer, there's one thing I am convinced of is that the 50-40-10 is going to become the most flexible and most used tool inside your creative financing arsenal. I thought what we should do is we should break down the 50-40-10 again, and then most importantly, talk about a deal that an ORAT fan just brought Mr. Stephen Dow just to show you how it is being used. Stephen, before we get into this, please do the marketing spiel.
Although I work very happily for Velocity Mortgage Capital, all the ideas and topics discussed on this channel, that of my own. So let's get it going. 50-40-10. I know we kind of beat this to ad nauseum, but I think the more we talk about it, the more it can resonate, and I think people then kind of grasp it a lot easier. Mm-hmm. It's just basically the option of going up to a maximum combined loan to value of 90%. What that means is that where I can provide a first mortgage, usually up to a maximum of 75%, that would allow for the seller, in most cases, in the case of a purchase, if they had enough equity and was willing to carry a small second to combine with my first to a maximum combined loan to value of 90%, that allows for the buyer to put down a minimum of 10% down. Now, the 50-40-10 comes into play because that's ideally how we would want to have the loan set up so that I can offer you my lowest rates at 50% LTV on the first, seller carries the 40, buyer comes in with the 10. That's usually the best ideal situation as well, because again, if the seller can carry more of the weight of the purchase price, your blended payment or blended rate would be much lower, which would then increase your ability to cash flow from day one with putting only 10% down. So that's basically the premise. You can apply it to both residential, non-owner occupied 1 to 4 units, as well as even commercial, multifamily, mixed use, and even straight commercial. So it does allow for the tool to be applied to different, transaction types. So it's been a neat.
When I think about the 50-40-10, which I'm going to give you and I credit for creating, obviously Velocity provides the 90% CLTV product, which is that thing. But we've branded the 50-40-10. I think it's so powerful because when you look at it, you can get into a deal with 10% down. Mm-hmm. You can, and frankly should, structure the debt, the 90% debt where your payment is below market rate. Because you can structure the debt with below market rate, you can actually pay more. And it really is a win-win for everyone. The reason I believe this will eventually become the tool of choice for real estate investors is there's more and more people with higher and higher days on market.
Right.
And there are people that, are getting more and more motivated. And they're likely getting low, or what I call disrespectful offers. Why? Because I'm telling everybody on the planet to write disrespectful offers. Listen to me, folks. But here's the deal. If you know how to do this right, you can actually write 3 offers. Now, let me explain. Mm-hmm. You can write let's just take an example of a $2 million building. It's whatever you want it to be, a house, a 10-plex, whatever, $2 million. Maybe if you have to write a cash price, you write that building at 1.15, right? Cash. Sellers out, all that. That's all you can do because, again, you're going to have to go get a loan. The cost of capital is 7 or 8%, yada, yada, yada. It's the only numbers that work. You could write an offer at 1.9 million, completely seller financing. Mm-hmm. But then the seller doesn't get any cash at the closing, which maybe they want. Right. So maybe you can offer 1.6, give them 50% cash, or 60% of the cash at closing, and all they have to do is carry the 40. And on that 40, maybe there's a 10-year balloon. Maybe that's fully amortized. Who knows? These are all negotiable. So people have to know how flexible this is. They have to call you when they have a seller with equity. I know you just had a call this morning because we had to delay our phone call, which is awesome. Right. Do that every time. Take care of the ORAT fans. But somebody was looking at potentially getting a triplex for over $1 million, I think.
Yes, $1.1 million purchase of a triplex, fully occupied. They were inquiring about the 50-40-10. So we crunched some numbers real quick at the $550 loan amount, gave him the rate and the payment. And now he's going to apply that along with the negotiations with the seller on the second, and then calculate that payment and then see how that matches against, rents. And that's pretty much it. at that
That's
point,
all
it's
it is.
pretty easy series of math problems, and numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
So
It's not even hard math. It's just it takes people a little bit of time. That's why I don't mind repeating it.
it's not hard
I think
for somebody like you, Mike, because you're
oh,
an honorary Asian guy. I mean, you know what I mean. So
how nice of you. How nice of you. But yeah, I mean the whole idea is you're trying you have a seller that wants to sell.
hmm
The seller has a decent amount of equity.
right.
All you're trying to do is structure a deal where your payment,
hmm
in this case 90% of its debt,
Right.
is easy to handle with the existing rents.
Right.
And then that's all it is. And again, in my earlier example, 1-1 cash, 1-9 seller financing, 1-6
hmm
50-40-10.
hmm
Again, maybe you offer 1-7, but you know what?
Right.
Sorry, I have to have a lower interest rate on the second. It's
Right.
just math.
Right.
And they can call you to figure it out, right?
Yep. 100%. Again, it usually starts with that initial inquiry phone call, and then we dig a little bit deeper and we get some more details, and then we have to jump down the rabbit hole and start crunching numbers and stuff. But I don't mind. It sometimes takes a few phone calls and a few meaningful conversations with the seller to kind of really get this thing, locked down and the framework structured. But man, when we can find that, and it's so beautiful. Again, we did, one for the lumberjack landlord. It was fantastic. Yeah. Everybody won. I don't want to even get too much details, but it was a married couple. I think one of the spouses had medical issues, so they're on fixed income. They're starting to fall back on some of their payments. They're in like I think a subprime or like hard money loan. So, and they were on the brink
of
just
stuck. They were stuck.
Right, on the potential foreclosure. They couldn't move out. They could, you know what I mean? So he bought it from them and then rented back out to them.
Yeah,
and
everybody won.
Everybody won. Their monthly rent was lower than what they were paying in mortgage. They got a big chunk of equity because they tapped into the equity, and they got a little bit of passive income on the seller second that they're carrying, and it cash flowed for the lumber from day one with 10%. So it was like, how could you not like? It was
how
fantastic.
Can you not like
so
this?
Yeah, he's got a forever tenant because these people aren't moving. That's the key to them. They don't want to move. So it lowered their payment, gave them a good chunk of money. And they, you know what I mean? They're fine. And they can now fix their credit as well and maybe, improve their quality of life. But yeah, when you can find the right setup, man, it's really truly a win-win. But give me a call, email. That's usually how it starts.
All you got to do, folks, is email sdow@velocitymortgage.com. He does ask that in the subject line, you only put 5 letters. It's ORAAT, stands for one rental at a time, of course. That gets you through the firewall, which means you get right to his email, and he's pretty quick at responding. Typically 24. Worst case, if it's the weekend, it might be 48 hours.
Right.
But,
apologies.
You're always on.
And again, if I had to like leave for work over the weekend or an event, it might be like 72. So I do apologize. Problems to have when there's only 24 hours in the day and only one guy. So, but I'm gonna 100% get back to you. If for some reason within 48 hours I don't reply, just maybe shoot a quick email follow-up just to put you back at the top, because certain days I might get flooded with, no joke, 1,100 emails in a span of like 4 hours. And so I kind of have things going to different folders. Yeah, I'm not trying to flex, but this is just, right now in this environment, things.
When you're as good as you are, that makes total sense to me.
Well, I've been doing it here at this company for over 11 years, so I've been putting out that energy, so that's what I get back. But
that's
awesome.
I
would agree. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it, man.
Awesome, family. Take care of yourself. We'll talk next week, huh?
Thank you. You too. Have a good weekend.
Later.